Hello everyone, friends. As you know, Bitcoin has risen a lot. Altcoins have not risen. So why haven't they risen? In this video, I will discuss when the altcoin bull market will come, what strategy we are using, and whether the rise in Bitcoin will continue. We were talking about the 2025 bull market. We'll discuss whether this bull market has been postponed, what happened, and we'll talk about our strategies and thoughts. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to like the video, and if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe right here. Now, there are a few topics I want to discuss first. As you know, Bitcoin has risen a lot. However, altcoins have not risen. So why haven't they risen? Because Bitcoin hasn't reached a saturation point yet. We call this the top of dominance. We call it making the top. In other words, we call it the strengthening of dominance. As you can see here, dominance in the previous bull market, after reaching the 74s, there was an altcoin rally up the here, and we see that it is currently at 64. Considering this bull market is more about altcoins, we think it will correct around 70 instead of 74 and move the altcoins. But now, which altcoins will rise? Most of these altcoins are being wiped out. Which ones should we focus on? I will talk about that as well. Now first, let's understand this very well. Bitcoin needs to reach saturation. And where is the saturation level? Well, our estimate is by examining the pink cycle top indicator, which I am also bringing to the screens. What is this indicator? It is an indicator that shows Bitcoin's short-term average price and long-term average price. And when does this indicator? When the short-term price converges with the long-term price, the altcoin bull does not live. Look, we saw this in the previous bull. It's coming to the screens now. How it tightened like this in the previous bull. You see the lines approaching each other. The last time this approach happened was in March. This approach, it will happen again now. Don't worry, there should be no fear or panic. The Bitcoin price fell from $110,000 to 80,000 lira, dropped to 70,000 lira. So are we sinking? Are we ending? There was a lot of panic. Right now it's at 85,000, and we were saying that if we break 85,000, the downtrend is over. Always. When we observe now, if you look at the chart, you can see how the long-term downtrend has ended. Now, an upward trend can start, and we see that this upward trend, in the pin cycle, 350 DMX can hit $150,000 a Bitcoin. In the previous March, it was at $75,000. It came very close to those levels. Look, at 75,000, in the 80,000 region, how it approached those levels. If you remember, in March, the sheep were flying. Since that March, almost a year has passed. The sheep are terrible. Why terrible? Because Bitcoin is not close to a saturation level. The Bitcoin saturation level is $1,000, my friends. Altcoins over $150,000. Especially this ETF will be approved. Coins will experience a very serious bull run. These are already risk-free because look at Solana, BNB, or the other altcoins I brought to the screen. You will be able to see those other altcoins on the screen right now. Let me bring it to the screen as well. Yes, now it's up. What's there from this? Bitcoin was already $30,000. When the ETF came, it went to $30,000 because the ETF was going to be approved. What happened after it was approved? If we remember, it went to $110,000. Now, if Bitcoin goes to $110,000 after the ETF is approved, what do you think will happen to the altcoins? Look, the ETF application. Coins that are in the approval process are among these. We have been consistently collecting this between 30 cents and $1. We are still collecting. That's a separate thing. Right now it's hovering around $2. There's Aptos, we even bought it at $5, $10, and now it's hovering around $5. Then there are Solanas, BNBs. BNB is already incredible. I mean, I keep buying BNB. I participate in the pre-sales on Binance Wallet. If you don't know, how do you participate in the pre-sales on Binance Wallet? I constantly put them in, and just today I earned $200 from HyperDB coin in exchange for 3 BNB. So we put in both $1,700 and we got back $1,700. So 3 BNB is currently worth $1,700. And with those 3 BNB, we will participate in the next pre-sale again. So what do these kinds of solid-backed coins do? Friends, like Solana, like Aptos, and my favorite here is Sui. Aptos, BNB, HBR. I would also add Pengu along with Solana. Pengu could also be promising. AVAX and such, I don't hold them too much. I don't hold them too much, but there are ETF applications. Now, I will talk about this. Why will these coins rise after entering the American exchanges? Because millionaire and billionaire investors in the American exchanges don't want to pull their money out and put it into the exchange. Friends, because it's not safe. Okay, we use it. And so on, it hasn't collapsed for years, but recently we saw FTX collapse. What was FTX? It was one of the largest exchanges. Now, in America, when FTX was the most popular, there is a collapsed exchange, an American exchange. In America, $50 billion went from the top 50 users, of this exchange. Now, in this process, the person wants something more secure. They want to keep their money in the American exchange. And this, after these ETFs arrive, when the real American public, the American investor, gets involved, these coins will soar. Imagine you're Trump, but no one is buying. Why? Because they're not entering. Wouldn't you want to pave the way for these coins? They appointed a crypto-friendly president to the head of the SEC. They also tried to pressure Powell, the current chairman of the Fed, to lower interest rates. And Trump openly says that if he doesn't lower them, he will be removed from office. He should resign from his position. Constant pressure. Now, in this situation, the head of the SEC is already crypto-friendly. The head of the Fed is crypto-friendly. Etiraz is also crypto-friendly. ETFs have become a big deal. These coins are entering US markets. What will happen? I will fly the left network. What will happen? I will fly the water. When the left network flies, its coins will fly. Memes and so on are now based on the left network. Pike, Worm, there are many coins. Look into them. More. Research them yourself. Now, because of this, we always say this. Now, I was already in America a month ago. Currently, I am in Dubai. We are also attending events in Dubai. Look, here are the events in America. We went to the water event. There is an incredible demand. And with the people in America, there's a kind of structure where $10,000 is very valuable there. These videos are coming. Let the America videos stay on the screens like this. I attended the event here. There, $10,000 is very valuable, meaning you can do everything with $10,000. Money is very valuable. That is, cash is very valuable. Now we come here. We say $10,000. Multiply it by 300,000 lira. With 300,000 lira, you can't buy a house. You can't do anything. There, because of the credit systems, etc., banking systems, and strong currencies with a 5%. Down payment, there's a $500,000 house, a luxury house. They can pay $25,000 and buy that house. That's the value of $25,000 cash right now. Or they buy a Tesla paying $2,000 in cash. Think of it that way. They buy a Tesla with $2,000 cash. I have friends there. They all bought Teslas. How did they buy them? With credit packages, etc. So how can such a system exist? Because, now, what is your $10,000 risk there? Their $10,000 risk there is not the same. We already have to take a lot of risks here because inflation is very high. There, inflation is not that high. They don't have to take risks. When inflation occurs there, that's when the global money supply graph comes into play, right? Now, that's why I switched from gold to Bitcoin. I earned more with Bitcoin. In 2017, 2016 during that period, because it was around 1,300, well, 1,500. It was around 1,500. Now it's become 3,000, meaning 31.1 grams of gold is now $3,200. I don't know. Maybe it includes something, but during those times, was it around 1,500? Let me see. How much was the screen? It became 3,400. These days it's soaring, but when you look at Bitcoin, it was $1,000 back then, and when I got in, it was $2,000. Right now it's around $100,000. On average, even at its lowest these days. Now, when you look at this situation, the paragraph in the world, it's written as global M2 money supply. You can find this yourself on Google. Screens showing global M2. Money supply will appear. When you look at this graph, and when you compare this to Bitcoin, you see that when the M2 supply increases, the price of Bitcoin also rises 1-2 months later. Look. And generally when the gold price peaks, Bitcoin starts to soar a month later. So it's very close. Bitcoin will soon hit $150,000, maybe even go higher. I always say in every broadcast of this bull market that my target is $250,000 because when we look at it, such events are not around 220 or so. There's a situation where a respectable team goes way above, a rise contrary to the lock. Top 350 is currently 150,000, my friend. You do it like that. The bull market will start at $150,000, meaning Bitcoin will continue to rise, but dominance will decrease. So, because Bitcoin has reached its saturation point, investors will move to altcoins, but Bitcoin will still rise, and it will see 200,000 there. Look, if you see that it is above that green line in the previous PSAC recap, every time Bitcoin approaches that green line, altcoins experience a bull run. We will experience more of a bull market when we are above the green line. So, now many friends are panicking, saying, let's sell, teacher. I had $5,000, it went down to $2,000. I had invested $5,000. In March it was $20,000. Now I'm down to $2,000. So most of us have lost tenfold. And if we had exited in March and entered here, we might have missed the rally. So what was our best tactic? Continuous buying. We will sell when we make a very good profit, convert to cash, and buy again when it drops. We will continue this without being greedy. We have a brother who takes care of the garden work. That brother once asked me for help. A relative of his was going to transfer money. A relative wanted to learn about crypto. I taught him as well. Then a week later, he wanted to learn himself. I said, let me teach you about Solana too. So we taught him. He made regular purchases continuously. 1,000 lira, 1,000 lira, 1,000 lira, 1,000 lira. Just about 3-4 months ago, we checked. He had put in 10,000 lira. In a SUI, Bonk, and TT10s, that's where his money was. For about 10 months, he had around 10,000 lira. It was worth about 50,000 lira. So it was around 50,000 lira. And we said, I need some money. I withdrew a portion of his money. Then, the market took a hit. Now his money has dropped to around 20,000 lira. So I guess it was good that he withdrew. But then I said we talked again in the past weeks. I told him to keep buying little by little. At least replenish the pot you sold. In this network life, you can easily come out with 400, 500,000 lira from here. Since he doesn't really know how to withdraw money, he usually asks me, and I taught him. I mean, we are already teaching. There are free educational series. And so on. Everyone can watch. I put them in the description. But the best strategy is this. Continuous buying strategy. Like water, other altcoins, and so on. This period, you have the last 1 or 2 months left. We have to buy regularly. Let's buy. Be sure that by the end of the year, the bull market will come and we will all earn thousands of lira. Don't lose hope. Look, no one is left in the market. But by the end of the year, everyone will come here. As the Coin Engineer family, we are always here. Even if it's at the highest peak, we are always here. We continue to be with you. Our content continues. There are nice events these days as well. We will give you good news from there too. So the best opportunities we learn about, we share directly with you. We try to explain on Instagram and other news channels as much as we can. So we try to deliver the projects to you once. For example, Monet. As you know, we are investors in Monet. In other words, we've been constantly making videos for 1 to 2 years. We say join their e-drops. Definitely join their e-drops, their testnet. Very simple. You perform transactions there with free testnet tokens. All of you can do it. Don't hesitate. About these, don't be afraid at all. Very easy things. Be cautious of scammers who use difficult terms, try to make things look complicated and present themselves as experts, etc. Also, we've been telling you about Backpack for a long time. Transactions are constantly being made there. Look, Backpack is very important. We made a more detailed video about it. Point accumulation has started. We are regularly accumulating points in Backpack in the future, like BNB. We bought BNB at $30. I joined the pre-sale with 10 accounts. Why? Because I bought it cheaply. I bought it at $30 now. $600. We know the prices when it was even cheaper, but we couldn't buy that much. $3. We didn't have any money. We were students back then. We were trying to participate in the pre-sale and such. We were trying to participate in Avatsin's pre-sale. Of course, later on, we recorded videos of all of them, showed and taught you. Look guys, Backpack's token will come, the wallet's token will come. This is a project that could be as important as BNB. That's why I'm constantly making transactions here. In fact, I occasionally post the transactions I make on Instagram and such. Or we post the transactions we make on news analysis channels. News channels. For example, what do you use in daily transactions and such? There are always people asking. In scalp transactions, there are super trend indicators, or you can write indicators with artificial intelligence yourself, or you can learn the indicators. For those who don't know their videos, for those who are curious, I'm putting them here. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. I thank you all. Have a good day.